Hey guys, this video I'm going to show you how to build the CoreData into your apps. It is the most popular and common way to store the data in iPhone apps. So when the user turn off your app, the data will store there. When the user come back to your apps, the data will be shown back to them. So what I'm going to do for this demonstration is I'm going to build a simple UITableView with a text box and an app button. So when I type in the name in the text box, press the app button, the data will store in the CoreData and I will fetch it back to the table view. I will do the same thing again, type in the name, press app buttons, and the data will be back to the table view. So that's what I'm going to do in this demonstration. Let's dive into the program now. Before I start to write any program, I need to remind you one thing. When you start to create a new project, make sure you take the checkbox for the CoreData. So the apps will help you to create that CoreData model in your apps. So you can see here is the empty entity. You can use it later on. Before to do this demonstration, I need to build some context, the background, so that you know how I can show you what CoreData works. So here I need to create a navigation controller, but this one only serves me to use is navigation bar. So I can put some button here. So the first button I need to use will be a bar button, and this bar button serves an add function. So whenever I press this add button, I can add the name in the table view. So I also need a table view. I just simply drag a table view here. So with that table view, it will be a single cell. It's a very simple one. In the cell, I need to put the identifier there. And I also need another view to hold the text box. This view will be here. So, and in this view, I just use it to hold the text field. So wherever I type in here, I can directly add the name to the table view. So this will be a simple one. I just need to change the color so you can see the differences. So with that, I only need to link all these components to the view controller so I can start to program. So the first link I need to do is drag and drop this table view to the view controller with the data source. And then I need to create a function. This is a function for adding the name. And then I need to build this text outlet. So it's a text name. It's an outlet. And I also need an outlet for this table view. Later on, I can reload the data easily. So if we're all set, I can go back to the view controller and start the program. The first thing, because I already built the data source, so I need to create a UITableView data source here, and I need to conform with this data source I put here. So I need to have something to hold the data. So I simply put a name here. It's called. Just put some name to do the demonstration to see how it works. Okay, these three names. So in the table view, I can return how many rows that I need to show, and also here I need a cell. If you want to know more about creating using the table view, you can see my previous video to show you how to use it. So here I just quickly to set a foundation so that you can see how it works later on. So that's all. And then let me run this app to show you how it looks like now. So how do I know this one is a permanent data in the apps or not? So I need to show you here. Let's say I'm going to add a new name. Element will be the text unwrap it. After I add that, it should be able, after I add this, the name from the text view, it will show you here. So I need to reload the table view. So let's see if it is really stored there. Okay, first name I'm going to say Peter. Add. So Peter will be here. And let's say I add N will be here. However, when I terminate the apps and run again, the new data I added before has gone because it is not stored in the apps, because there is no database to hold all these data permanently. So next step, I'm really using the CoreData to hold all these informations. Okay, how I'm going to use CoreData? So let me go to the CoreData model first. In here, I need an entity to hold the data. So let's say this entity will be employees, and within the employees, I also need some attribute related to the employees. Let's say name. This name will be strange. You can add age, ID, etc. later on. That's all you need for the entities. And I can go back to the view controller. The first step you need to do is import CoreData. The next step, you cannot use a simple array to hold the data because the CoreData, the data returned from the CoreData will be NS object. So you need to have var, let's say employee, it will be an NS object. So it's an empty one first. Here I have no more name array, so I just comment it out. Later on I will put some code here to add the name in the database. And in the table view, I need to return how many employees return from the CoreData. In here, in the cell, what I'm going to present is just not a simple string. So I need to have something to hold the NS array. So this one, let's say let person equal employee, index path dot row. And this person is not a simple string, it is an NS object. So how can I access an NS object? The cell.text label will be the person dot value. In the CoreData, the structure is similar like a dictionary. So you use the key to hold which data you are going to call. So the key will be the attribute in that employee's entity. I also need to downcast it to the string, otherwise it doesn't know what to present here. So let's run these apps again, see what's happened. You will see an empty table because I don't have any data in the CoreData. So next step, I'm going to add the code here to help me to add all these names into the CoreData. Okay, in the add function, I'm going to create a code. So the first thing I need to have is to create an instance to hold the name going to save in the CoreData. So that's name to save equal text name.text. Else, if nothing else, I just return nothing. Okay, now from the code here will be everything related to CoreData. So first of all, I need to have an app delegate. Your application.share.delegate as app delegate. Else, if they found nothing, then you return nil. With that, I need to have managed context equal app delegate dot persistent container dot view context. With that, I can access the entity now. Entity will be equal to ns entity description dot entity. For the entity name will be employees in the share manage context. So if you go back here, you can see the employees is here. When I can access the employees, then I can set the value into this entity. So let person equal ns manage object. The entity will be the entity I create here. Insert to the manage context. That's all you have done. But with that, it's just telling the systems I'm going to set the value into this entity. So what's wrong? I need to unwrap it. And then at last, I need to set a value for this person. What value? Is the name to save value into the key is name. Okay, that's all you need to do to save a record into the entity. But before you can really save something, you need to try manage context.save. So wherever you save will happen. If something goes wrong, the error as ns error. So you just print it can't be saved. That's all. Let's see if it works or not. Let's run this app again. Let's see, I want to say Peter Blood. There's nothing show here. Anyway, I put in John again. Still nothing show here. But actually it did save into the CoreData. How do I know? Let's say I run again. Still show nothing because I didn't have a function to fetch all these data to the employee this NS object to present here. So next step I'm going to do is create another function is to fetch the data what I just saved there. So this one is quite simple. Function fetch data. So exactly the same thing. I need to have app delegate. You will see I keep typing the same code again. It's kind of like tedious, but in this demonstration I just want to show you why I need to do just want to show you every step they are using the same function, same line of code, so in future you just can combine all this code together. For demonstration purpose, I want you to repeat seeing what's going on here. Then you can have a better idea what I'm doing. So fetch request. So after this, actually the first two lines is exactly the same. Whenever you try to access the CoreData, you need to have these two lines to give you the path to access there. So for the fetch request, what I'm going to fetch is ns fetch request ns manage object. I'm going to fetch the entity will be employees. So I need to like save, you need to use do and catch to try if you can fetch any data. So in the do, I'm going to say employee equal try manage context of fetch. Fetch what? Fetch the fetch request I just create here. So when you try to fetch everything in the CoreData, if you find something, you will try to put into my NS array so that I can use it later. So after try the catch, if something goes wrong, flag error as NS error, I just print it can't be fetched. Okay, that's it. So after I save the record, I want to fetch it and also reload the data. So in the view reload better, I fetch once again to make sure all the data in the CoreData has been copied here and present to the table view. Okay, let's run this app again. You can see the one I add before in the few minutes ago, it has been fetched back to here now. So let's say I want to add some more, like Mary. We show here, Eddie. We show here. So how can I prove is a permanent store in the CoreData? So I go to the simulator. I click the home buttons. Back to the home buttons. When I click again, it all come back. Even though I terminate the apps, I run the apps again. It will show here. That's how you do the add and fetch the data. In the next videos, I'm going to show you how to remove the data from the CoreData and also using more complicated fetch method like predicate to fetch exact data that you want from CoreData. So that's all for today. If you like it, please give us a like and also subscribe these videos. See you next time. Bye.